Ever since Metro Exodus announced its exclusivity deal with Epic Games Store for the PC version of the game, it just cannot seem to catch a break. We all know by now that PC players did not take kindly to how the announcement came so abruptly a mere 2 weeks before launch, after months of marketing suggested players would be playing it on Steam, and after months of having sold copies on Steam to players who pre-ordered before the deal was signed, with the issue further compounded by the fact that Epic Games Store lacks many key features like cloud saves, achievements, user reviews, and many more that makes it an all-around less ideal service than Steam, not to mention the general distrust against the service after numerous hacks and data leaks and due to questionable language on their privacy policy. But as if optics weren't bad enough already, a developer from 4A Games proceeded to add fuel to the fire by lashing out and issuing the following statement in Russian forum gameru.net. The Google translated version of the post expressed the basic gist of it, but here's a more accurate translation by Twitter user Xenorax. In it, he expressed his grievances over some of the backlash against the game. He downplayed the backlash by suggesting people can't be bothered to spend a few minutes downloading a launcher when it's about much more than that. He generalized ardent critics as people who never cared about the Metro franchise in the first place, and as people who are always looking for an opportunity to vent. And worst of all is this excerpt that reads, quote, "Someone say that, like, if you shit on Exodus and previous installments in the series, they will make the world a better place and will show greedy developers their place. To that, I can say that in the worst case scenario, if all PC players will boycott Metro, then the next Metro, if it will ever come out, won't be released on PC. Whether or not they will benefit from it is for you to decide." The boycott bit was the part that people especially did not take kindly to, with many perceiving it as a threat or ultimatum that basically said, accept the exclusivity deal, buy the PC version of the game, or we won't make PC versions of our games anymore, your choice. The backlash has since been swift and immediate, resulting in Metro Exodus getting caught in the middle of yet another PR shitstorm, which could prove to be fatal given the game is less than 2 weeks from launch as of the publishing of this video. It's a damn shame because, controversy aside, few will deny that the game really does look amazing on its own merits, and that this is a game that deserves to be played by as many people as possible. It's been a little over a day now since this debacle began to gain traction, and it's become widespread enough that the publisher was forced to issue an official response. The following information was conveyed by the official Metro Exodus Twitter page, which tweeted the following message on February 3rd, 2019 at 12:39 p.m. Clicking on the provided link will take you to a tweet longer page showing the full message, and it reads as follows. The recent decision to move Metro Exodus from Steam to Epic Games Store was made by Koch Media Deep Silver alone. The recent comments made by a member of the 4A Games development team do not reflect Deep Silver's or 4A Games' view on the future of the franchise. They do reflect the hurt and disappointment of a passionate individual who has seen what was previously nothing but positive goodwill towards his work turn to controversy due to a business decision he had no control over. We respectfully ask that any and all valid feedback over this decision is directed at Koch Media Deep Silver and not the developers at 4A Games. The future release strategy of the Metro series lies with Koch Media Deep Silver. Our decision to partner with Epic Games was based on the goal of investing in the future of the series and our development partner at 4A Games. We have every intention of continuing this franchise, and a PC version will always be at the heart of our plans. One thing I'm not 100% clear on is who exactly wrote this statement, given it's not signed by anyone. Was this a message from 4A Games? Was it from someone at Koch Media or Deep Silver? Or was this a joint statement that all parties involved worked on? To me, it reads like it was written by the publishers, with quotes like, "our decision to partner with Epic Games" and "our development partner at 4A Games," so I'll proceed with that assumption. Either way, this is their official stance regarding the recent outbursts from one frustrated developer, and it does help clear up certain things. For example, I've always expressed in my previous videos that we probably shouldn't blame the developers over at 4A Games for any of this, as the exclusivity deal was likely completely out of their hands, and this first paragraph acknowledges and confirms that. To be fair, I feel like most people understood that the developers weren't to blame though, with the majority of criticism I've seen being primarily aimed at the publishers. Granted, we did start seeing negative feedback seeping against the studio after the frustrated developer posted his inflammatory statement in the Russian forum, which made it that much more difficult to garner sympathy from an understandably peeved crowd of PC players. And in the end, him posting this didn't do himself, the studio, the publishers, or this whole situation any favors. While the developer's discontent is totally understandable under the circumstances, and while I'm sure some of the vitriol that's been thrown the developer's way has been completely unwarranted, history has proven time and again that lashing back against customers who have tangible reasons to be disgruntled never yielded ideal results, so it's an impulse that's best left avoided. This next paragraph proceeded to emphasize that the comments of one member of the team do not reflect the views and plans of the studio or the publisher as a whole, before explaining where the developer's outburst came from, describing it as the disappointment of a passionate individual who was dismayed by how quickly goodwill turned to controversy over something he had no control over. On top of the general negativity in social media and forums, I'd assume discovering that even their previous Metro games were marred by review bombs protesting the publisher's business decision was pretty painful to behold. Interestingly, this statement offers no actual apology for some of the more rousing things he said, and not just about foreboding insinuations that future Metro games will not come to PC if players boycott, but also about some of the generalizations he made about critics by saying that they don't know what they're talking about, or that these are people who don't care about the Metro series and have been looking for an excuse to be angry, which are plain and simply ridiculous remarks. Metro is a widely acclaimed and near universally beloved franchise, and the last thing fans, enthusiasts, and gamers wanted was a cloud of controversy looming over it. Nobody wants to see their favorite games and studios fail, but when anti-consumer business decisions are laid bare, it's not unreasonable to expect pushback, especially in this day and age when gamers have become fed up by all the bullshit publishers have pulled over the years. Now, while it's hard to say how the lack of an apology or any kind of acknowledgement that a mistake was made will mull over, the statement did respectfully ask that any and all valid feedback regarding the exclusivity deal be directed to the publishers, as the developers at 4A Games literally had no say in it, which is a very reasonable request. The last paragraph once again emphasized that it's the publishers who plan out the release strategy of Metro games, and that it was solely their decision to partner with Epic to secure funds they could use to invest in the future of the series, before assuring that they have every intention of continuing with the Metro franchise, and that a PC version will always be at the heart of their plans, in direct reference to the biggest point of contention surrounding the 4A Games developers' recent remarks. Now, saying that a PC version will always be at the heart of their plans isn't necessarily the same thing as completely refuting what the developer said in his statement by assuring that they will definitely release future Metro games on PC, even if Exodus underperforms as a result of the publisher's own short-sighted decision, but it does seem like the PC market is an important priority for Koch Media and Deep Silver, and that they will strive to release PC versions of future Metro titles. If you ask me, Metro is one of those games that's right at home on PC, and it would bode poorly for the future of the Metro series if games suddenly released exclusively on consoles, so let's hope it never comes to that. I would also hope that the publishers learn from this predicament and avoid locking down future Metro games exclusively to one platform on PC moving forward, especially on such short notice, especially when their platform of choice is in almost every way inferior to Steam, and especially when there's such an oversaturation of proprietary launchers from all of these different companies, which is proving to be more and more of a pain in the ass. Epic also needs to take a step back and realize that they are overreaching with their exclusivity deals, and that they're ultimately damaging their game store's reputation at the starting line before it's even had a chance to really kick off. They need to understand that consumers speak the language of enticing offers, benefits, services, and features, and not of artificial restrictions, limitation of choices, and unnecessary inconveniences. One thing I'll give the publishers credit for in regards to this official response is that they are trying to redirect negative feedback away from the developers at 4A Games rather than letting them take the full brunt of ongoing backlash. I've seen so many other publishers cower away behind developers when a PR nightmare hits as a result of disagreeable business decisions executives and managers made that developers had no say in, so it's good to see that they're at least letting people know who they should direct their qualms and criticisms to. However, this won't change the fact that certain crowds are still upset that Deep Silver and Koch Media pulled the rug from under them with a troublesome stunt so close to launch. I think if we had known further back from the get-go that it would be coming exclusively to Epic Games Store, backlash wouldn't have been as severe, but because this happened on such short notice, after people had already pre-ordered Steam copies, it just felt all around like a scummy thing to do. I get that the bigger revenue share they get from releasing Metro Exodus on the Epic Games Store, and the extra payment they received from the exclusivity deal could go a long way in securing funds and resources for future ventures, but I have to wonder whether those benefits will make up for the potential decrease in sales from this ordeal and the wave of negative PR that could have been avoided. I suppose only time will tell, and in the meantime, I do wish 4A Games all the best, and I hope the developers understand that many of us are rooting for their passion project and that none of this was a personal attack on their work, but rather customers protesting an unfavorable trend Epic is setting and calling out Deep Silver for being complacent in that. It's just a damn shame that it was Metro Exodus of all games that happened to be caught in the middle of this. Anyway, these are one man's thoughts and opinions on the publisher's official response to the latest Metro Exodus backlash. I'd love to hear what your take is in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussion, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.